My name is Sister Isabella, a nun of the Order of the Perpetual Adorers of the Most Holy Sacrament. And tonight, I want to share with you a story of how I died, returned, and uncovered a secret that could change the world. It is a story that begins, as all good stories do, with an ending. 10 years ago, in a small, quiet cell in San Marino, a republic nestled in the Apennine Mountains, my heart stopped. The world around me, the familiar scent of incense and old books, the gentle murmur of my sister's prayers, all faded into a profound silence. As they knelt, praying over my fading body, I stepped into a golden void. It wasn't darkness. It was a boundless, luminous expanse, filled with an inexplicable warmth and an ancient hum that resonated deep within my soul. And within that light, a fiery cord stretched across time, taut and shimmering, pulsating with an almost visible energy. At one end of this cord, I saw Rome in 1825, the year of the Jubilee of Pope Leo XIII. It was a city still bearing the scars of Napoleon's imperial ambitions, a world grappling with the aftermath of vast political upheavals, a populace seeking spiritual solace amidst societal flux. At the other, our world today, trembling on the very edge of chaos, a tapestry woven with threads of uncertainty, division, and unrest, yet also brimming with unspoken longings for connection and meaning. And in the very center, bathed in the golden light, a figure emerged, Pope Leo X, his eyes heavy with secrets that spanned centuries, burdened by a knowledge that transcended his own historical epoch. He didn't speak with words, at least not in any human tongue I understood. Instead, he communicated through a torrent of images, visions impressed directly onto my mind. He showed me a manuscript, its ancient pages pulsing with strange, arcane symbols, their meaning just beyond my immediate grasp, yet radiating an undeniable power. And then, one word burned into my soul, etched not into the parchment, but directly into my spirit, igniting a fervent spark. Cav. I instinctively understood it as the Hebrew root of hope, a primal fundamental concept of human existence. It was the cord itself, a metaphor made manifest. He then pointed to a rift in the sky, a shimmering tear in the fabric of reality, where eternity unfolded. A vastness that defied description, utterly overwhelming in its majesty. And in that moment of profound, soul-shattering revelation, I knew with absolute certainty I had been sent back to uncover a truth tied to a conspiracy, a hidden agenda that inextricably binds the past to our precarious future. When I woke, it was not in the familiar, comforting austerity of my cell, but in the stark, sterile environment of a hospital bed. My sisters, their faces tear-stained and radiant with a mixture of relief and awe, called it a miracle. And perhaps it was, in the most literal sense, a return from the precipice of death. But for me, it was more than just a miracle of flesh and blood, a mere biological resuscitation. It was a mandate. It was a mission. The vision haunted me, an indelible imprint on my soul, a constant, luminous presence that would not allow me peace. Leo X, the enigmatic Medici Pope, and the Jubilee of 1825 weren't just footnotes in forgotten history books. They were vital, interconnected pieces of a complex puzzle, hinting at the existence of a hidden order that called itself I Custodi del Cav, the keepers of the cord. My search began, as my life had always been, quietly, meticulously. I returned to San Marino's ancient archives, nestled among the stone towers of that venerable republic, a place where time seems to slow, guarding centuries of history. It is a profound truth often overlooked in our hurried modern world that the smallest states, like San Marino, like the Vatican City itself, often hold the most profound secrets. Their traditions, their deep, unbroken roots reaching back into antiquity, keep a fragile, authentic hope alive when everything else falters, when the grand narratives of empires crumble. But hope, I quickly learned, could also be a paradox. It could be twisted, manipulated, and even become a chain. The manuscript Pope Leo XIV showed me in my vision was not a phantasm. It was devastatingly real. I found traces of it in dusty, forgotten letters from 1825, tucked away in obscure collections, sealed with an ominous, recurring symbol, a cord intricately coiled around a cross. This was the unmistakable mark of the custody. My research, painstakingly gathered over years of diligent study, revealed their mysterious genesis. They were born in 1517, a year etched forever in European history by Luther's audacious rebellion, a moment when the very foundations of the Holy Roman Church trembled, threatening to shatter into 1,000 pieces. Pope Leo X, desperate to hold on to the vast, unraveling power of the papacy and the unity of Christendom, convened a secret council, cloaked in the utmost secrecy. It was then, in that hidden assembly, shrouded in mystery and ambition, that they crafted the manuscript. It was a dark fusion of Christian mysticism, selectively interpreted, and ancient Hebrew lore, twisted to serve their purpose. Its true purpose? To control the tikva, humanity's collective hope, to anchor it not to divine truth, but to a single, carefully manipulated narrative, a grand illusion designed to guide and contain humanity. They offered progress, unity, salvation, all dictated by the custody's hidden hand, pulling the strings from the shadows of history. They truly believed that hope was too dangerous a force for ordinary souls, a volatile, unpredictable energy that, if left unchecked, could ignite rebellion, independent thought, and ultimately chaos. So they wove it into a cord, a spiritual tether they alone possessed the knowledge and power to pull, tightening it, guiding it, shaping it to their will. It was, they proclaimed, for humanity's own good, for the greater stability of the world. But it was, at its core, a profound and insidious deception. By 1825, the world was fracturing once again, mirroring the profound chaos of 1517. Napoleon's devastating wars had scarred the very soul of Europe, leaving behind a landscape of ruin, profound disillusionment, and widespread discontent. Revolutions simmered just beneath the surface of society, threatening to erupt with destructive force. Pope Leo XIII, a quiet scholar, a man of deep piety, called for a Jubilee, a holy year of spiritual renewal, to mend the Church's fractured spirit and to bring solace to a suffering populace. But the custody saw it differently. They saw it as an opportune moment, a chance to renew their ancient pact, to reassert their slipping control over the direction of humanity's destiny. In a hidden chamber, deep beneath the ancient stones of St. Peter's Basilica, a clandestine place I have only ever witnessed in my visions, yet feel with startling clarity, they gathered. They opened the manuscript, its pages glowing faintly, almost eerily, in the dim, flickering light of torches. They chanted words I cannot repeat, words that vibrated with a dark, primal power, words that made the very air hum with an almost palpable malevolence. The cord tightened, binding hearts and minds, drawing humanity further into their fabricated future, their meticulously constructed vision of control. But something went catastrophically wrong. The ritual faltered, the cord tore, and from that tearing, that spiritual wound, chaos seeped into the world, an insidious poison, wars, unprecedented divisions, pervasive despair, a relentless unraveling of the very ties that bind human beings to one another and to God. The custody, their grand plans shattered, their ritual incomplete, retreated into the deepest shadows, vowing to mend the cord in the next great Jubilee, 2025, our time. I spent long, arduous years meticulously piecing this intricate puzzle together, driven by the vision that simply could not let me rest. In San Marino's quiet, unassuming libraries, I found coded messages from 1825, mere tantalizing hints of the custodi's pervasive subterranean influence. In Rome, a city steeped in both sanctity and hidden power, I met a cardinal, a man of profound learning and deep, authentic faith, who clearly knew too much. His hands shook uncontrollably as he whispered, his voice barely audible, choked with fear and despair. "The cord binds us all, sister, but it can strangle." Days later, he was found dead. A heart attack, they swiftly concluded. I didn't believe it for a single moment. Last year, in a forgotten chapel hidden deep within the rolling hills of Umbria, a place of crumbling stone and ancient silence, I found a fragment of the manuscript itself. Its parchment was inexplicably warm to the touch, as if alive, infused with a lingering, faint energy. The words, Cav Tikva. Eternita glowed faintly for a fleeting moment, then faded like dying embers in the encroaching night. I knew then, with a chilling certainty, I was close. The custodi were watching me. I felt their presence, a cold awareness, a subtle shift in the air. I saw them in San Marino's sun-drenched piazzas, men in black cassocks, their faces half hidden by the shadows of their hoods, their eyes too knowing, too ancient. Once, a stranger, a figure cloaked in darkness, left a chilling note tucked discreetly into my prayer book. "Stop, or the cord will claim you." But I couldn't stop. The vision had shown me eternity, a vastness that dwarfed the custodi's petty schemes, their desperate grasp for control. It wasn't their cord that held the true path to salvation. It was the cross, where Christ's apparent defeat became the ultimate victory, where unimaginable pain became the source of profound redemption. Pope Leo X, in my vision, had pointed to it. Not to the manuscript, not to the symbols of earthly power. He was warning me. The custodi's cord was a lie, a seductive chain disguised as hope, leading us not to liberation, but to subjugation, to a future where humanity was eternally bound. I thought often of Giorgio de Chirico's haunting painting, The Return of the Prodigal Son. A father, carved in stone, immutable, steps from his pedestal, breaking from his rigid form to embrace his lost child, wandering in the wilderness of the world. That's our God. He meets us in our wanderings, in our blindness, even when we chase false futures, even when we stumble and fall. The custodi, in their cunning, want us to run blindly, to forget our true roots in the Eucharist, in the unwavering intercession of Mary, in the profound power of the small, humble acts of faith and charity that truly tie us to eternity, to the divine. But I saw another way, a way revealed in the golden light of my vision. Eternity wasn't a prize to be controlled, a commodity to be hoarded by a select few. It was a boundless gift, offered freely to every soul, believer or not, a universal truth. It was the cross, stretching out its arms to embrace all of humanity, offering redemption and boundless love. It was the Eucharist, the living bread, nourishing us with divine life, transforming us from within. It was the Virgin's compassionate gaze, holding our failures, our brokenness, and our infinite potential for grace. The Jubilee of 2025 looms, casting its long prophetic shadow over the world. The custodi are undoubtedly preparing. I know it with every fiber of my being. They want to mend their torn cord, to tighten their insidious grip on humanity's hope. They hide in the Vatican's ancient shadows, in San Marino's quiet corners, in the smallest, most unassuming places where power thrives unseen, where influence can be wielded with the most insidious subtlety. But we can stop them, not with swords or secret maneuvers, not with force or cunning, but with the simple, profound power of the truth. The Eucharist is our anchor, grounding us firmly in the true, living presence of God. a divine reality that transcends their schemes. The cross is our true cord, connecting us to the boundless love and sacrificial grace of Christ, a bond that cannot be broken. And Mary, the Porta Coeli, the gate of heaven, guides us through the encroaching darkness, her gentle hand leading us toward the light. I often think of Salvador Dali's poignant Madonna of Port Ligat, painted after the unspeakable horror of the atomic bomb. The arches are broken, the world in ruins, a symbol of humanity's self-inflicted wounds. But Mary stands serene, unperturbed, her divine child on her knee, the Eucharistic bread, the very essence of hope, at her heart. She holds our brokenness and our profound hope, her gaze a silent, eternal promise that we are not abandoned, that grace endures. Last night, I dreamed again. It was a dream of clarity and urgency. I stood in St. Peter's Square, the very heart of the Catholic world. The custodes' cursed manuscript clutched firmly in my hands. They closed in, their shadows long and cold, threatening to engulf me, to silence me forever. But then, a light, pure and radiant, broke through the encroaching darkness. Mary, glorious, her form ethereal, her voice soft as the faintest whisper, yet resonating with divine authority. "The cord is there," she said, pointing not to the crumbling manuscript, but to the majestic obelisk and the cross that rises defiantly in the square's heart. Not in their vaults. In him I woke with tears streaming down my face, tears of both sorrow and profound relief, knowing with absolute certainty what I had to do. I may not live to see the manuscript's secrets fully exposed, to witness the complete unraveling of the custodes' deception. The custodi are relentless, their power vast, and I am just a nun, a small, solitary voice in a vast, indifferent world. But I believe with every fiber of my being in the tikva, the true cord, the one that stretches not from man's manipulation and control, but from Christ's enduring cross to eternity itself. The Jubilee of 2025 will be a battle, not of flesh and blood, not of armies or political machinations, but a profound battle of the spirit, a clash for the very soul of humanity. Will we choose the custodes' chain, a deceptive imitation of hope, or the cross that sets us truly, eternally free? I ask you, with all the urgency of a soul awakened to profound truth, to pray for the Church, for its unwavering fidelity to Christ. Pray for the small states, those quiet guardians of ancient truths and human dignity. Pray for the truth to be revealed, for the veil of deception to be lifted from the eyes of humanity. Look to the Eucharist, the source and summit of our faith. Look to Mary, our mother and our guide, our constant intercessor. And if you see a shadow in a black cassock, if you feel the chilling touch of a hidden manipulative power, do not fear, do not succumb to despair. Run to the cross. Embrace the true cord, the bond of unending love and freedom. As our venerable founder, Blessed Maria Maddalena of the Incarnation, taught us, the last words of a holy one are often the most profound, the very foundation of enduring hope. Christ's last words on the cross were consummatum est, it is finished. But for us, those who choose the true cord, for those who embrace the cross and the Eucharist, it's just beginning. The eternity is real, it's waiting, and it's yours.